Hello everyone, this is Crypto BitLaw, here with another blockchain legal brief, and today we've got a fun one for you. We're going to review how the DOJ recently charged a defendant with sending over $10 million in Bitcoin to a sanctioned country. But before we dive in, please, if you like the content, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And with that said, let's jump right on in. Alright. So as we could see here, Decrypt reports the Justice Department charges a defendant with sending $10 million in Bitcoin to a sanctioned country. Like Jason Voorhees, the myth of virtual currency's anonymity refuses to die, a federal judge wrote about using Bitcoin to dodge sanctions. They say, the Justice Department has filed criminal charges against an unnamed defendant who allegedly sent more than $10 million worth of Bitcoin in an attempt to skirt economic sanctions. In an opinion published on Friday, US Magistrate Judge Zia Faruqui of Washington, D.C. explained his approval of the Justice Department's criminal complaint. This is the first time the U.S. has filed charges in a sanctions case involving cryptocurrency. The complaint, which remains sealed, alleges the defendant set up a payment processing company as a front to transmit more than $10 million to a sanctioned country. At present, the U.S. has comprehensive economic sanctions for North Korea, Syria, Russia, Cuba, and Iran. According to Judge Faruqi's opinion, investigators say the defendant bought and sold Bitcoin using a U.S.-based virtual currency exchange, which was funded with fiat currency from a U.S. bank account. The defendant then used their U.S.-based crypto exchange account to send thousands of dollars to two foreign crypto exchange accounts, at which point they were accessed by someone with an IP address tied to a sanctioned country. Quote, the question is no longer whether virtual currency is here to stay, in other words, FUD, but instead whether fiat currency regulations will keep pace with frictionless and transparent payments on the blockchain, Judge Faruqui writes, invoking the acronym used in the crypto community to refer to fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And just as an aside, I think it's awesome that this is like, I guess, a prime example of the zeitgeist and the sign of the times, where you have a federal magistrate judge using common crypto jargon and language, literally invoking FUD in an opinion. This is great. Continuing on, the judge cited recent guidance from the Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control, or OFAC, which earlier this month issued its first sanctions against a cryptocurrency mixer, Blender.io, for its links to North Korean hackers. Before that, OFAC has also reached settlements with BitGo and BitPay over sanctions violations. In December 2020, OFAC reached a $98,830 settlement with BitGo over 183 crypto sanctions violations between March 2015 and December 2019. Then, last February, OFAC reached a $507,000 settlement with BitPay for 2,102 crypto sanctions violations. Blockchain analytics firms have taken note too. Earlier this year, Chainalysis, which just raised $170 million at an $8.6 billion valuation, rolled out a screening tool to help companies screen transactions for sanctions compliance. Quote, now is the time for the industry to demonstrate that blockchain's inherent transparency make cryptocurrency a powerful deterrent to sanctions evasion, Michael Groninger, co-founder and CEO of Chainalysis, said in March. Judge Faruqui seems to agree. Quote, virtual currency is traceable, he writes in his opinion. Yet, like Jason Voorhees, the myth of virtual currency's anonymity refuses to die. See Friday the 13th, Paramount Pictures, 1980. So this judge is clearly trolling in his opinion, which I think is great. Nods to you, Judge Faruqui. So I think that this is pretty interesting. I guess first I'm going to address, I think it's pretty awesome we have the judge using common crypto language like FUD. And then not only that, going as far as trolling this defendant, comparing him to the like of Jason from Friday the 13th. I mean, you got to admit that that's pretty funny. Secondly, I think it's interesting because you have a lot of these government officials, I mean, I guess politicians, more importantly, that like to put this spin on crypto that it's a tool that criminals use in order to evade law enforcement by doing all this shady, nefarious activity on the blockchain and on the deep web. But at the same point in time, here we have a branch of the government, the judicial branch, a magistrate judge for a federal court saying, when are these criminals going to learn that everything that you do on the blockchain is traceable? And so, you know, I mean, based on that, you can't really have it both ways. And I think finally, some of, you know, the more intelligent, enlightened, eyes wide open sorts of public officials are starting to realize and recognize what this technology is and what it does and what it means to have a public immutable ledger, right? And so I think that it's interesting. Hopefully that trend will follow. And then just to, I guess, address the fact that crypto is making its way to these sanctioned countries. I mean, we all knew that that was going to happen at some point or another, but harkening back to that earlier point about the blockchain and how it's all public, I mean, it was just reported that Chainalysis raised all of this money and released all of these tools in order to trace down crypto that was being sent to countries that are on these sanctions lists. And so they just raised money at an $8.6 billion valuation. You can't run, you can't hide from this. And I know we just did another report earlier on how, I think it was the FBI, they were searching for internal software. They were issuing a contract to do similar sorts of Chainalysis, not just on blockchain, but on a whole host of cryptos. And they're trying to lump Monero in there. But as far as I know, or I mean, no one's cracked it yet that we know of. I mean, the government may have cracked it and they're just keeping that under wraps. But I mean, who's to know for sure? But I think that this should serve as a warning for anyone out there that thinks that they're going to do any sort of sly or shady or subversive activity on the blockchain and try to remain anonymous, you know, especially but when it comes to public blockchains like Bitcoin or Ethereum. I mean, there's no hope. That's the whole point of them, public immutable ledgers. And so this was our case for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And with that said, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video.